Time-based SQL injections. Well, there will be certain cases where you will not be able to see any output on the screen. It will be the screen which is same in case of a valid statement or an invalid statement. In certain cases, instead of looking at the output, we can look at the time which the server takes to process the request or to send the response. In the following case, I am trying to ask the server that check if the database name is acquired. If it is, then sleep for 10 seconds. So if I press enter, I don't get anything on my screen, but you can see the server is taking 10 seconds to give me the response. It's sleeping right now. And after 10 seconds, it'll send some response to me, which is again the same page. So on my response, nothing changes, but it took complete 10 seconds to show me the page. Instead, if I just put some random name here, it'll not take more than 2 seconds to give me the response. That is where I can justify if the statement is true or false just by looking at how much time the server is taking to give me the result. Just to make it simpler for you, I'm going to show you a few examples. There is a table called users. And you can see in this table there are 3 users, Sagar, Alice and Bob. However, let us assume that we do not have the ability to play with these users. Every time the output is just these 3 users. What can we do in such case? We can use sleep statement by combining it with AND. Select star from users and if. And here you will put your sleep statements. However, please note this depends on product to product. In case of this database, which is a MariaDB implementation of MySQL, the function works in condition, comma, true, comma, false. Which means you put your condition. If the condition is true, then this will happen. If the condition is false, then this will happen. So if the condition is false, sleep for 5 seconds. If the condition is true, sleep for 2 seconds. And the condition is database equals A. If I try to run this, it throws an error. And the error occurs because there is no logical condition in this. You see, to use time-based injections, you need a logical condition like where, which you cannot control. So if the application instead of this is using where name equals Sagar. Now the application is checking for a logic. Select star from users where name equals Sagar. This is something which the application is checking. It's a logic condition. And then we are putting and also check if database equals A, then sleep for 2 seconds or 5 seconds. This will work. And you can see the database is sleeping. But how much? 2 or 5? You can see it slept for 5 seconds, which means database name is not A because it is X. So can I show you with the X? Of course. When I do it with the correct database name, it sleeps only for 2.002 seconds. 2 seconds because of the sleep function, 002 seconds to process the request. Again, 5 seconds because of the sleep function, 0.009 seconds to process the request. Similarly, we can use different patterns like length, and now we are comparing if the length of the database is 1 or none. And in this case, the length is 1. If we see if the length is 2 or not, it will say no because it will sleep for 5 seconds, giving me the confirmation that the length is not equal to 2. I can even use a greater than sign here. So if length is greater than 2, then sleep for 2 seconds. If not, then sleep for 5 seconds. As you can see, length is not greater than 2, it is less than 2. So I can say length is less than 2. And this will sleep only for 2 seconds, as you can see. So by such techniques, you can analyze the time of the database and conclude if a situation is true or false. I can even do length calculation here. So in this following example, I am checking if the length of the database equals 5, then sleep for 5 seconds, otherwise sleep for 10 seconds. 1, 2, and it throws an error. Let's see what the error is. Length. Okay. Did we do some mistake? Yes, we forgot to close the length function. So let's close it and let's try now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and maybe I'm counting too fast, and it just comes up with the result, and I can conclude that that was definitely not 5 seconds. However, if I try it with a number of 6, which is actually the length, ACUART, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So do we get the output? Yes, we get the output. Right? That is kind of how it works. Let me go ahead and start a stopwatch instead. This should be easy. So I'm going to say and do we get the result here? Here we go. We got the result in almost 4 seconds. But still, because I started it and it took 1 second to, come from browser to stopwatch, it took 1 second over there. If I do a wrong statement like 5, and if I reset that, and if I press enter, then let's see. We got the output in 11.51 seconds, and assume it was taking somewhere 12 seconds because I came from the browser to here. This was 1 more second. So roughly 12 seconds instead of 10. So that is the processing time it is taking. But it is definitely clear that if the request is true, it comes somewhere around 5. If the request is wrong, it comes somewhere around 10 because I am giving that in my assumptions, right? That is how you get to know if it is true or if it is false. And just like you use the length function, you can use the substring function to calculate the name of the database or to get any kind of information from this database. It all depends on how well you understand SQL. But that is how the time-based SQL injections work.